love for this era. All of these factors would pair together to create massive surges of internet trends, and the cherry of the top being movies, fashion, and pop stars all leaning into this. Think of it, the Mean Girls reboot, Devil Wears Prada 2, Shrek 5, Pink Panther, Sarah Larson, all heavily relying on this era of culture, making the 2020s feel a lot more like the 2000s. Now I want to get into the characters, but I just want to quickly state that Bill Brown, Annie Phillips, Marcy Stanler, Ned Rubenstein, Steve Christie, Barry Jackson, and Claudette Hayes will all be remaining the same. Now let's start with Pamela Voorhees. Her character, I still want her to remain the same, except after her son is drowned, I want her to still remain on Camp Crystal Lake. I want her to live in the Voorhees Manor, which is an established item from much later in the franchise. And I want her to remain as a caretaker of Camp Crystal Lake so that she remains much more prevalent throughout the whole rest of the movie. I also want her to have a major attachment to religion, as I'm going to use this as a plot point as to why her character acts as she does. And I also want her to use a machete as her killing implement, taking from other elements of the franchise and putting them into this one. Then we have Alice Hardy. I want her introduction to be slightly different. I want her to arrive with the rest of the counselors, because I want Christy and Pamela to be the first characters who are at the camp already. This way it just relates it to the rest of the group, and I want her to really emphasize that idea of community and uniting everyone, because that's one of the main ideas that New Hollywood tried to push, and so I really want to get that in there. As well as the fact that, well, I want the ending to be different, and we'll get into that when we get there. Then we have Jack Burnell. I won't get into him quite yet, but I just want to mention how his fate is far more different than the rest of the characters that I will be adapting for this remake, so I'd keep a close ear out for when I mention him. Then we have Brenda Jones. I want her to be a lot more resistant to joining the group. I also want her to almost represent the more gothic style that was coming back into fashion in around the 2000s. She can really help emphasize that sense of community by having Alice connect with her, and then that's how she joins the rest of it. But apart from that, she roughly remains the same. Then we have Enos. Enos, I would like to be a former police officer relating to the initial killings during the first Camp Crystal Lake incident. I think that ties him in a lot better into the narrative. And Dorf, as the titular police character, I want him to be more aggressive. I want him to be more bigoted. I want him